Okay, hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video here on my channel. I just wanted to give you guys a quick thank you for my last video that hit over 500 views in less than a week. That is the most viewed video here on my YouTube channel. If you guys are new around here, I do feature PC builds, and I usually show the rough cost of what you can pretty much expect making the same type of gaming PCs. And in this build, we're going to be featuring a Ice Attack tank case that you'll see at the end. It just looks absolutely insane. And we're going to be pairing this with a 10-core, 20-thread Intel CPU, along with an RX6800 from AMD. And this is going to be an ultimate 4K gaming machine that you'll be able to put your guys and show you what you can expect, and pretty much show you guys the rough cost for it. So without getting too much ahead of myself, I'm just going to show you guys the parts. And originally this motherboard is from ASRock. It is an X79, and what we are pairing this, it originally came with an i7 3930K, which is a 6-core 12-thread processor, if you didn't know. But I did go on Amazon and I ordered I hope that is brand new, but I ordered a Xeon 2670 V2. This is also a X79 platform CPU. And if you guys didn't know, this CPU is a 10-core 20-thread processor, which is a very good workstation CPU. 10 cores, 20 thread, I mean, that's over 8 cores. And at 4K, honestly, cores don't really matter. But, you know, just for the sake of it, this is also going to be a workstation. We're pairing it with 32 gigabytes of RAM. So you're going to be able to do anything from video production, photo editing, to, 3D renders on Blender. So, go ahead and install the processor onto the board. And just riff quickly to let you guys know is the final cost and the price for the items used will be featured in the video. I will be putting images of the rough cost and receipts for them up alongside the videos as well, so you guys can see and pretty much determine where the cost went. So once you got the CPU installed, as you can see, it is placed on the motherboard. And we are also going to be pairing this alongside with 32 gigabytes of RAM. This is DDR3. And this motherboard uses 4 DIMM slots on each side. And this allows the user to upgrade to even more DIMM slots. And I believe ECC RAM is able to be used with this chipset. But for right now, we're only going to be utilizing 2 DIMM slots and running 32 gigabytes on the channel. So there's that. So as you can see, the RAM is installed and our CPU is installed. What we're going to be installing next is the air cooler, and we're using a CPU air cooler from Evercool alongside with a 120 millimeter fan. But before that, we do got to apply our thermal paste. And for our thermal paste, we'll be using ID Cooling thermal paste, but really any thermal paste can be used as long as you do apply thoroughly and spread it all over the processor. So once we apply the thermal paste, go ahead and screw on your CPU cooler. And for this specific socket, you do have to screw in each corner, and the screws are on the actual board themselves. So just one thing to note, if you choose to use the same processor or platform, you would need to get a cooler that supports LJ2011 is what the socket type or the bracket you would have to purchase from for the cooler to be supported. So as you can see, we do have our air cooler now installed and secured on there. Next thing is to install the fan that goes over it to keep the air cooler tight and the CPU at warm temperatures. So go ahead and install whatever bracking mount you use for the fan. Okay, so now that we have our fan installed, as you can see here, it's time to actually install it into our case. So for this instant, you would grab your I/O shield, you would line it up to make sure where it'll fit and is properly aligned on the motherboard. And I would recommend that you install this first, so you close in the gap here in the back of the case. So once that is installed, you are free to go ahead and install the motherboard, but this case is missing a few standoffs, so I do quickly want to install those before actually screwing in the motherboard to the case. And we're just going to add our own standoffs here in the corners. Okay, so once our standoffs are screwed into the motherboard, it's time to place. Once our standoffs are screwed into the case, it's time to align our motherboard in here. Make sure that it's properly aligned with our I/O shield and our standoff screws. And we're off to being able to install this onto the case. So you want to grab the proper screws to be able to have the correct screw size when you're screwing this in. Sorry if I'm repeating screw, guys, but you know, it's a lot of screws. And go ahead and start applying them and putting them into each standoff that was just placed and aligned with the case. And once it is secured, you should be good to go. All right. All right, now that you got your motherboard installed, as you can see here, properly secured, you want to start hooking up every single cable that is required to power this on. I would recommend starting with the 24 pin, as usually that's the easiest. And in most instances, the 24 pin is located at the top left corner of your motherboard. That one I would recommend to actually do first before installing the motherboard. In this specific case, I do have enough gap to actually not have to struggle with those, but you know, for future reference, if you're doing it on a normal ATX case, I would recommend that you install the 8 or 4 pin for the CPU power first. Finally got our 24 pin. Then we just gotta locate our 4 or 8 pin that connects to the top of the motherboard. Nice. So once it's connected, I recommend to plug in any disk drives or plugins that may be hard to access once installing the graphics card. In this case, we do have 2 drives. One is a SSD, 128 gigabyte, and the other is a 1 terabyte hard drive. So I would recommend you plug in those, as it may be difficult to access once the hard drive is installed. And once connected, you shouldn't really have to worry much about them afterwards. So, boom, plug those in, should be ready. Now, once everything is installed, as you can see, we could install our graphics card, but there is one step that I'm going to do. And because you can see along here, the wheels are the fans, I would connect the fans or any other I/O connection that requires to be connected to the motherboard to do that now before installing the graphics card. So, luckily for me, I got these RGB fans that I will be connecting to a controller like this that connects to a power source from your power supply. In this case, it is a SATA interface. So I'm just going to connect all 6 of these to the controller and then plug it in. So now I got the fans hooked up. I just really quickly want to start plugging all the I/O and you know, like your HD audio, USB front header, USB 3.0, front panel, all that. So I'm gonna start connecting those right now. USB 3.0 and our front panel, which goes down here. So all those are connected. We can finally move on to installing the graphics card, which is everyone's favorite part. Okay guys, now that everything's installed to the motherboard and our power connections are connected, we're just want to show you guys the last step, which is installing our GPU. And in this instant, we are using an AMD Radeon RX6800, which is a 16 gigabyte GPU. And this is going to be honestly enough to play at high settings in 4K for pretty much any and every title. And with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, you have so much gigabytes to use when video editing, processing, exporting, and even just cranking any game to max settings. So just to show you guys again, this is the GPU that we're using from AMD. Taking off the PCI cover. And this GPU specifically requires two 8-pin PCIe connectors that go on pretty easily into the front of the card. Connecting one right there. We'll grab our second 8-pin. Go ahead and connect it to our second 8-pin slot. So connected and ready. So once that's done, you want to line it up with your motherboard slots, and once that's set in, push down slowly but firmly, and it is installed. So now what you want to do is screw in the graphics card into whatever screws are here on the bracket cover for the case that you're using. Just make sure that it's firmly screwed in, as you don't want this to be moving around when you're playing or using the computer, as it can damage your bracket slot. So just want to make sure that those are tight in and screwed firmly. And once that's in place, we are done. This is pretty much our system. Once we cover it all up and put the top of the cannon and the cover on and put every screw back in to complete the case, turn it on and show you guys what it looks like, but for the most part, we're done. Okay guys, so this is the completed build. Let me know what you guys think. Honestly, it came out really insane, just the look of it. I mean, what you guys think about this case? You guys' thoughts on the build? Got that RX6800, 10-core 20-thread Intel processor. Got the RGB fans and the cannon and the tank. Wow, look at how insane that is. And we do have the remote control, so we're able to go ahead and change the colors on the fly. There's green, blue, red, purple, teal, then a white. A lot more different options, a lot more different modes. As you can see there, auto, a lot of different modes out here, and different speeds for them. So if you got bored of one setting, you can go ahead and choose another one. So let me know what you guys think. Again, if you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe. I will be posting more of these videos in the future. As long as someone is watching, I will be continuing to upload. So peace out. Thank you guys. Go ahead and check the links in the description. Till next time. Peace.